Eric Burgess here with Music Marketing TV. Today we're going to be making a pad sound with DIVA. Here's a preview. Now that you've heard the preview, there are a couple principal ideas when you're making a pad sound. First, pad sounds have very long attacks. And so let's go ahead and let's jump into this real quick. So first, I'm starting on the default patch. And we want to do a long attack because a pad sound is a sound that's very long, establishes an atmosphere. They are not sounds that are very sudden, at least not usually. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come in and bring the attack way up. Now, you might be going, why does that adjust how fast the synth is and not this one? And the reason is this one's hooked up to the amplifier panel, so it controls the volume of the synth. So that's why this attack knob is the one we want to touch. Now, it stops suddenly, and that's something we don't want. We need a release stage. So this decay knob here, I'm going to activate the release mode and dial it back just a bit because it's a bit long. And we get a nice release, and this is more, now we're getting closer to a pad sound. The next step we need to consider is what kind of frequencies do we want involved in our pad sound, and I'd like some high, like a softer high pad. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the mixer and turn everything off and only bring in the things I want. I find this to usually just be easier to do than to adjust settings and move them around here. This way we're working in a very this is what I want, and so this is what I brought in, instead of things just randomly happening. So I'm going to choose a triangle wave, and I'm going to mix it with let's just mix it with a sawtooth. And let's just bring it in. This one will be an octave up. So let's just bring these in to what we want. I really want the higher one to be a bit more prominent. That's really nice. Am I clipping? It doesn't sound like I'm clipping. Let's come over here now. Now that we've got this sorted, let's go ahead and look at some interesting things we can do with this. So one of the things we can do to add movement over time, which is really important for pad sounds, at least really dynamic ones. And I'm going to make LFO2 control the shape of this top one. So the highest voice in our sound is going to be moving around on the waveform a bit. So I'm going to bring this up some. And on LFO2, I'm going to set the sync to 2:1. Now I am assuming you know what LFOs are. They're low frequency oscillators. But I just want this to gently move this around. And so I'm also going to switch to a sine wave for this. So that's really nice. Now what I want to do is let's bring up the volume for the overall output here, because this is easier than readjusting multiple volume knobs. And actually I could probably be monitoring a bit louder too. Now that we have this, let's go and look at our filter here. So first things first, we're on a 24 dB filter. Let's try a softer cutoff value. So let's switch to 12 and just hear it. And one of the advantages to 12 is it lets more frequencies through. And so we can go to lower values of the cutoff and still have some high end going on, since this is a low pass filter. Lets low frequencies through. Now we want to move it around dynamically with our sound, at least I do. And so to do that, we have the envelope right here. And right now it's connected to envelope 2. We can actually have it connected to a number of things. But envelope 2 has been connected, and I'm going to bring the attack of this up. And right now it's not being given control over the filter. We have to say, hey, change it by this much. So this is going to move the cutoff knob. How much it's allowed to move it is turned on or dictated by this knob here. So we've got that set up. Again, we're going to go to a release because we don't want our filter to just randomly close. It's going to sound really sudden. And the sustain is fine where it is. In fact, we want to bring the sustain down probably, because if you hold a note down and it finishes the attack, it's going to move to whatever the sustain level is. So I'm going to bring it down a bit. I want the cutoff to move slightly below where it is when I have it on. And so that opened up pretty high. Let's bring this down and also dial this back a bit. Yeah, I kind of like, oh, I kind of like that. All right, now to really begin to bring this sound to life, I'm going to turn on the chorus effect down here. And I'm also going to activate a plate reverb. That's really nice. So let's go ahead and do a couple other just small things. So first, when I play a single note, it gets one voice. The synthesizer generates a single oscillator to go through all of these processes, is one way of thinking of it. And right now, I want to use multiple voices for a note. So if I increase this to say 3, we get extra stuff. Let me go back to the first one and just give it a listen. And now let's go over to 3. So there's additional phasiness. It's just a little more lush. And so what I want to do is I'm going to increase the voice count to 12 and the stack to 3. This will give us enough voices to play 4 notes at a time, which is plenty for what we were going to do here. That's a really nice pad sound. Now, it is a bit bright, so we could try out the 24 dB to cut it back a little bit. And there you go. That is the pad sound. Let's go ahead, let's create the preview real quick. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe, hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.